Brought to you by Knights of Awakening. This is the Labyrinth. Today's show is going to be a real quick one. It's not going to be real long. It's going to focus on spirit guides and a question that was brought up in a group that I'm in. The question asked was whether or not one could have a Jedi for a spirit guide that identifies itself as a Jedi Knight. And that's a complicated question because the first thing we've got to do is look at what spirit guides are. Now, I know what spirit guides are in my traditions, and generally they're animal spirits, but sometimes you get human guides as well. So I had to go back and get a little bit of clarification research on the origins of this, and what I found was that most people are pulling from Native American cultures, or Chinese or Egyptian cultures, or they're pulling from concepts like saints or enlightened individuals. Guides could also be totems, angels, guardian angels, or nature spirits. At this point, then the question asks, how many ways can a spirit present themselves to you? And it's going to sound a little hokey, but the problem you're going to run into is that your subconscious mind is what interprets what a spirit looks like. So if you've enmeshed yourself in the mythology of Star Wars so completely that you believe it to be fully real on an innate level internally, and I don't mean you believe in the Force. I'm not going to call that one in because, frankly, I believe in something very similar, if not exactly the same, to the Force. But I'm saying you believe that Luke Skywalker faced Darth Vader while wielding a blue lightsaber, over a pit that he fell down and nearly lost his life. No, if that is something you believe internally because you've watched it that much that it's enmeshed into your mythology, and I don't mean necessarily that you believe it. I'm not saying that you've become psychotic or that you're having a complete mental breakdown. What I'm saying is that to you, that mythology is as real to me as the mythology of Thor and Odin. Then it is potential that a spirit guide that would come to you would take on the form of something that you would respect, such as a Jedi Knight. This gets into the internal systems of how our mental imaging processes make use of spiritual information. Nothing you perceive as spiritual is influencing your body in the way that you think it is. What it's influencing is perception. Save those times when a physical impact is made, such as the healing of an injury, or leaving a burn mark on the body that can be physically seen and proven. So the initial answer that we've got to give then is that yes, certainly your spirit guide could be a Jedi Knight. It could be a rabbit, as mine is. It could be a lion, a tiger. It could be a mythical beast, such as a dragon. Because the thing is, these beings aren't what we perceive them to be. So if that being is presenting itself to you as a Jedi because it knows that you will understand better what it means, what you're dealing with is probably an enlightened being. Now, I say probably because you need to gain some basic skills to discern spirit guide from random entity giving you advice. And this is very important. You need to learn intuition skills or some form of divination such as card reading or rune reading to act as a double check. I don't recommend the pendulum for this. Pendulums are way too easily influenced by negative beings, and I've, with recent events, kind of taken a negative view on the pendulum as a functional force. Some people still hail by it. I never used it all that much to begin with, and my view of it has kind of went downhill with some things that I've seen. So I would recommend using tarot cards or elemental oracle cards or something to do a check on this being and see if it is anything like it says it is. And if you suddenly get all the cards of deception and trickery, then you want to rethink this spirit guide. Ask the guide why it is presenting itself to you in a certain way. This goes for if it's showing up as a dragon as well, or a mythical beast. When mine showed up as a rabbit, my first response was, alright, a bunny. My second response was, well, I know you're not playing on my ego. And I know you're not playing on my self-sense of grandioseness or my need for something amazing and fantastic. So I was more willing to give this rabbit a fair shot at that point than I would have been had it showed up as an 80-story tall dragon shooting fire out both sides of it. This is the kind of thing you've got to look at and make a determination on. Any being can present itself to you in any way it chooses to, and if you're seeing it in a state of trance or meditation or a dream state, it may simply be choosing imagery that works best for you. It may also not be the type of being that you expect it is, and therefore it may not be as big a benefit to you as you think. I always suggest that people run some kind of check on any being that they're coming into contact with, especially if they lack the other higher level skills of energy work and intuition. Intuition is your best skill, but the problem is, in this instance, your intuition is going to be curbed towards the direction of wanting to believe, especially in the grandiose. If my spirit guide was a Jedi Knight, I'd want to believe too. Sadly, my spirit guide is a bunny rabbit, which makes it easier to believe, but it also robs that cool factor of it being, a dragon or a griffin or a fire-breathing anything. In a state of trance, it's going to appear to you as what makes most sense for you. And as I do not allow self-illusion within my projected states, a rabbit is what I got. And it kind of fits. I really think spirit guides can be a lot of great help and use to us. I think they can give us a lot of information, a lot of guidance, give us a better understanding of the world, a better understanding of ourselves. If you have a spirit guide coming to you and it's something very grandiose, do a double check on it for sure. Make sure it is what you think it is and it's not some random spirit running around. But beyond that, if all of your checks come out fine and you're certain that this is your spirit guide, more power to you. I know people whose spirit guides are dragons. I know people whose spirit guides are dolphins. I know people's spirit guides are unicorns. And a lot of these animals, the dragon and the unicorn specifically, didn't exist, especially not in the mythological form that we place them in within our mental construct today. So I don't see this as an issue, but I would say do a double check, because if you're getting something very grandiose and very specialized towards I would always hope for that, then it could be a trickster spirit, at which point you need to double check. If you haven't learned intuition methods, then you need to learn a divination method to help offset this. I would recommend intuition methods, personally, first and foremost. But those can be tricked in the early phases. And learning these intuitive methods is not going to help you right this minute. With that, pick up a deck of playing cards and learn to read playing cards and do a quick reading on this being. See if it is truthful and real. If it is your spirit guide. And if not, dismiss it with everything you've got and turn your back on it, because it's no use having a trickster being in your life. That covers it. Really short episode. If you like this episode, like, share, and subscribe. And if you didn't like this episode, hit that dislike button. We want to know. We want to know what is important to you. Thank you all very much. And remember, awaken the night within.